Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a paper by Woodrow, Hartzog, and Jessica Silbey, and let me tell you, it's a bombshell. They make this really bold, honestly kind of shocking claim that AI is fundamentally designed to destroy our most important institutions. Yeah, you heard that right. I mean, just look at this quote. The authors do not mince words. They argue that AI isn't just a tool that can be misused. No, they believe its very design is a death sentence for the foundations of a democratic society. It's a massive claim, so let's unpack their argument. So what's really behind a claim this big? Let's get into the argument and see what they think is truly at stake here. To really get the threat, though, we first have to understand what's being threatened. The paper kind of sets them up as the heroes of this story, our civic institutions. And when the authors talk about institutions, they're not just talking about big stone buildings. They mean the invisible backbone of society, the rules of the game that we all kind of live by. Things like the rule of law or universities. These are the systems designed to help us all cooperate and build a stable, flourishing society. And according to the paper, these institutions basically have superpowers. Their real strength isn't just that they exist, it's that they can evolve. They legitimize knowledge, they let us take huge intellectual risks, and this is the most important part. They're built on human relationships and shared goals. The people are what make them strong. Okay, so if those are the superpowers of our institutions, then what's the kryptonite? Well, the authors argue that AI has three core design features that are fundamentally toxic to them. So here it is, what they call the three-pronged attack. First, AI undermines human expertise. Second, it short-circuits our decision-making processes. And third, it isolates us from each other. The argument is that these three forces work together to systematically dismantle what makes our institutions so strong and resilient in the first place. Let's start with that first one, undermining expertise. The argument is that AI creates this powerful illusion of accuracy, right? It seems so competent that we're encouraged to just offload the hard stuff to it. But those complex tasks, that's exactly how we build real human wisdom. And this chart really clarifies the trade-off we're making. Human expertise is adaptive, and we can be held accountable for it. AI expertise, well, it's often a black box, totally stuck looking at past data. And as we rely on it more, our own skills start to atrophy. Essentially, we get weaker as the machine appears to get stronger. Okay, next up, the paper claims AI removes all the messy but totally necessary human parts of our institutions. Things like reflection, conflict, and grappling with a tough moral choice. And this quote really gets to the heart of it. AI can't take intellectual risks. It can't be a whistleblower or a groundbreaking scientist who defies convention. By doing this, it removes a key driver of progress and kind of freezes an institution in time, making it unable to adapt and evolve. And the third destructive force? Isolation. The authors argue that AI systems are designed to push out the very human connections, that sense of solidarity and shared purpose that hold our institutions together. This can lead to a phenomenon the paper calls work slop. That's when AI-generated stuff actually creates more cleanup work for humans. And a study they cite shows the damaging effect. When this happens, people start viewing their colleagues as less creative, less capable, and even less trustworthy. It's a direct attack on the mutual respect you need for any team to function. So, this all sounds pretty theoretical, right? But how does it actually play out in the real world? The paper points to several key institutions that are already in AI's crosshairs. First on the list is our legal system, an institution that absolutely relies on transparency, predictability, and accountability to even function. This quote gets right to the threat. When a black box AI makes a decision about someone's freedom, we lose the ability to challenge it. The principles of due process get totally subverted, and justice just becomes arbitrary power. The paper then turns to another cornerstone of society, the university system, which, as you know, is built on academic freedom and the long, hard process of developing genuine expertise. The argument is that university isn't just about knowing things, it's about learning how to learn. So when we offload all that cognitive heavy lifting to AI, we risk being robbed of the process itself. It would basically hollow out the entire mission of higher education. And the final institution they put on the chopping block is journalism, the watchdog that's supposed to keep our information ecosystem healthy. And here, the paper introduces a concept that is both fascinating and, frankly, terrifying: model autophagy disease, or MAD. This is what happens when AI models get trained on too much of their own AI-generated content. They literally begin to eat themselves, just degenerating into nonsense and polluting our entire information ecosystem. So, after laying out this whole case, what is the final, stark warning from the authors? At the end of the day, their conclusion is that AI's design is inherently corrosive. It attacks expertise, decision-making, and social connection, which leads to institutions that just can't adapt. The argument isn't that AI is a tool that can be misused, it's that its core function is a poison pill, making the demise of these institutions basically inevitable. And this leaves us with a final, really provocative question, which they pull from the movie War Games. A strange game, the only winning move is not to play. So you have to ask yourself, when we're faced with a system whose very design seems wired to undermine the foundations of our society, is the only winning move to not play at all? A pretty sobering thought to end on.